Imagine a day when 200 Germans, fresh out of the enemy's ranks, joined forces with American soldiers in the heart of World War II. What drove them to make this unthinkable choice? It's a story of betrayal, loyalty, and the blurred lines between friend and foe. In a war that had been raging for years, where the world was divided into two opposing camps, these 200 Germans chose to defy their orders and fight alongside their sworn enemies. As we delve into this extraordinary tale, let's set the stage for the historical context that led to this unprecedented event. World War II was a global conflict that had been sparked by the aggressive expansion of Nazi Germany, led by Adolf Hitler. The war had been raging for years, with the Allies, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, fighting against the Axis powers, which consisted of Germany, Italy, and Japan. The German-American relationship was particularly complex during this time. While many Americans saw Germans as the enemy, there were also those who sympathized with the plight of the German people, who were suffering under the oppressive rule of the Nazi regime. This moral ambiguity created a fertile ground for dissent and rebellion, which would eventually lead to the unthinkable decision made by these 200 Germans. Let's take a closer look at the specific event that shook the world. On April 29, 1945, American forces were pushing deep into Germany, and their commander, General George S. Patton, was making a name for himself as a ruthless and efficient leader. As the Allies approached the town of Schwabisch Hall, a group of German soldiers, led by a man named Johann Stegmaier, made a bold move. They defected to the American side, surrendering their arms and joining forces with Patton's troops. This was not a spontaneous decision, however. Stegmaier and his men had been secretly planning their defection for months, fueled by a mix of desperation, disillusionment, and a sense of justice. They had seen the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime, and they knew that continuing to fight for the enemy would only lead to their own destruction. As we explore the story of Johann Stegmaier and his fellow defectors, we'll uncover the motivations behind their decision. What drove them to risk everything and challenge the authority of the Nazi regime? Was it a desire for personal gain or a sense of responsibility to their fellow soldiers? The answers to these questions will take us on a journey of discovery, one that will challenge our assumptions about the nature of loyalty, duty, and patriotism. One of the key figures in this story is a man named Friedrich Bulow Kempter. A former major in the German army, Kempter was a highly decorated officer who had served on the Eastern Front. However, as he witnessed the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime, he began to question his loyalty to the enemy. In 1945, he made the bold decision to defect to the American side, where he would go on to play a crucial role in the Allied efforts. Kempter's story is a testament to the complexities of the human experience during wartime. He had been a loyal soldier, yet he was also a human being who was capable of empathy, compassion, and moral courage. As we learn more about Kempter's experiences, we'll see that his decision to defect was not taken lightly. It was a choice that would put him at odds with his former comrades and potentially put his life at risk. As we continue to explore the story of Johann Stegmaier and his fellow defectors, we'll encounter other characters who will challenge our assumptions about the nature of loyalty and duty. There's the story of a German soldier named Hans Fichtner, who defected to the American side after becoming disillusioned with the Nazi regime's treatment of his family. Then there's the tale of a group of German prisoners of war who were being held by the Americans but chose to escape and join the Allied forces. These stories, and many more, will take us on a journey of discovery, one that will challenge our assumptions about the nature of loyalty, duty, and patriotism. We'll see that even in the midst of war, there are those who are willing to challenge the status quo and take a stand for what they believe in. And we'll learn that the line between friend and foe is often blurred, and that the true test of character lies in the choices we make when faced with impossible decisions. As we delve deeper into the story of the 200 Germans who defected to the American side, we'll uncover the implications of their actions. What does their decision tell us about the nature of loyalty and duty? Does it challenge our assumptions about the behavior of soldiers during wartime? And what can we learn from their experiences about the importance of standing up for what we believe in, even in the face of overwhelming opposition? The story of Johann Stegmaier and his fellow defectors is a reminder that even in the midst of conflict, there are those who are willing to challenge the status quo and take a stand for what they believe in. It's a testament to the complexities of the human experience, and a reminder that the line between friend and foe is often blurred. As we conclude this section, let's reflect on the significance of this event and the implications it has for our understanding of loyalty, duty, and patriotism. As we continue our investigation into the day 200 Germans fought alongside Americans, we'll explore the aftermath of this event and the impact it had on the outcome of the war. We'll also examine the motivations behind the decision to defect and the challenges that these soldiers faced as they attempted to make their new allegiance known. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the story of these unlikely heroes and uncover the secrets of their remarkable journey. Imagine a day when 200 Germans, fresh out of the enemy's ranks, joined forces with American soldiers in the heart of World War II. A day when the unthinkable became possible, and the boundaries between friend and foe were blurred forever. It's a story that would go down in history as one of the most remarkable acts of betrayal and bravery the world has ever known. In the summer of 1944, the tide of the war was turning in favor of the Allies. The D-Day invasion had shaken the German army to its core, and the once seemingly invincible forces were beginning to crumble. It was in this moment of chaos that a small group of German soldiers, led by a man named Lieutenant Hans von Luck, made the impossible decision to defect to the American side. Von Luck, a seasoned officer with over a decade of experience, had grown disillusioned with the Nazi regime and its brutal tactics. He had witnessed firsthand the atrocities committed by his comrades, and he knew that he couldn't continue to fight for a cause he no longer believed in. With a small group of trusted soldiers, von Luck made contact with the American forces, and together they hatched a plan to join the enemy. One of von Luck's soldiers, a young and ambitious lieutenant named Werner Peck, had a particularly compelling reason for defecting. Born into a family of staunch anti-Nazis, Peck had always felt like an outcast among his comrades. He had been stationed on the Eastern Front, where he witnessed the brutal treatment of Soviet prisoners and the wanton destruction of entire cities. When the opportunity to defect arose, Peck jumped at the chance, knowing that he could make a real difference on the American side. The risks were immeasurable. If caught, von Luck and his men would be executed as traitors. Their families would be shunned, and their names would be erased from history. But for these brave men, the reward was worth the risk. The chance to fight for a cause they believed in, and to make a real difference in the outcome of the war. As they made their way through the treacherous landscape of war-torn Europe, the German defectors faced numerous challenges. Their former comrades saw them as traitors, and many were determined to hunt them down and kill them. The American military, too, was wary of the defectors, unsure of their loyalty and motives. But von Luck and his men persevered, using their knowledge of the German army's tactics and strategies to help the Americans gain a crucial advantage. They provided vital intelligence on enemy troop movements, helped to disable key infrastructure, and even participated in key battles, fighting alongside their new allies with unwavering dedication. Their bravery and sacrifice did not go unnoticed. The Americans were impressed by the German defectors' willingness to risk everything for a cause they believed in, and they began to see them as heroes rather than traitors. As the war drew to a close, von Luck and his men were hailed as champions of the Allies, their names etched into history alongside the greatest heroes of the war. But the story of the 200 German defectors is more than just a tale of bravery and loyalty. It's a testament to the power of individual conscience and the human spirit. In a world where ideology and patriotism often took precedence over morality and compassion, these men chose to stand up for what they believed in, even in the face of overwhelming opposition. As we look back on this remarkable chapter in history, we're reminded that even in the darkest of times, There are always those who will stand up for what's right, even if it means going against the crowd. The story of the 200 German defectors is a powerful reminder of the importance of individual courage and the enduring power of the human spirit. It's a story that will leave you wondering what it would take for you to make a similar choice, to stand up for what you believe in, even in the face of overwhelming opposition. A story that will make you ask yourself, what would I do if I were in their shoes? Imagine a day when the very fabric of war was torn apart by an unthinkable act of betrayal. It's December 16, 1944, and the Battle of the Bulge is raging on. The Germans, led by Adolf Hitler, have launched a surprise attack on the Allied forces in the Ardennes forest. But amidst the chaos and carnage, something remarkable is happening. 200 German soldiers, fresh out of the enemy's ranks, are joining forces with American soldiers. These men, many of whom were ordinary soldiers who had grown disillusioned with the Nazi ideology, have made the unthinkable choice to defect to the Americans. And as they take up arms alongside their former enemies, they become an integral part of a pivotal moment in World War II history. The Battle of the Bulge was one of the bloodiest battles of the war, with over 100,000 casualties on both sides. But despite the heavy losses, the Allied forces managed to hold their ground, and the Germans were ultimately repelled. This battle was a turning point in the war, marking a significant shift in momentum in favor of the Allies. But what drove these 200 German soldiers to make this bold decision? For some, it was a desire to escape the brutal regime of the Nazis, who were increasingly brutalizing their own soldiers. For others, it was a sense of loyalty to their new American comrades, who were fighting for the same values of freedom and democracy that they held dear. One such soldier was a man named Hans, a German infantryman who had been stationed on the Western Front. Hans had grown increasingly disillusioned with the Nazi regime, which he saw as brutal and oppressive. When the opportunity to defect to the Americans arose, he jumped at it, joining a group of fellow soldiers who were equally disenchanted with the Nazi ideology. As Hans and his fellow defectors joined the American forces, they were met with a mixture of suspicion and gratitude. The Americans were initially wary of their new allies, fearing that they might be spies or saboteurs. But as they got to know the Germans, they began to see them as fellow soldiers, united in their fight against the Nazi regime. The role of these German defectors in the Battle of the Bulge was significant. They provided crucial intelligence to the Americans, helping them to anticipate and prepare for German attacks. They also fought bravely alongside their American comrades, helping to repel the German advance. One of the most remarkable stories from this period is that of a German soldier named Wilhelm, who had been a member of the Nazi SS. Wilhelm had grown increasingly disillusioned with the Nazi regime, which he saw as corrupt and oppressive. When he was given the opportunity to defect to the Americans, he seized it, joining a group of fellow soldiers who were equally disenchanted with the Nazi ideology. Wilhelm's story is a testament to the complexity of human nature, which cannot be reduced to simple binaries of good and evil. He was a German soldier who had fought for the Nazis, but who ultimately came to see the error of their ways. His decision to defect to the Americans was a courageous one, and one that would have far-reaching consequences for the outcome of the war. As the Battle of the Bulge raged on, Hans, Wilhelm, and their fellow German defectors played a crucial role in the Allied victory. They provided crucial intelligence, fought bravely alongside their American comrades, and helped to turn the tide of the war in favor of the Allies. But their story is not just one of military victory. It's also a testament to the power of human redemption. These men, who had once fought for the Nazi regime, had found a new sense of purpose and meaning in their lives. They had seen the error of their ways and had made a bold decision to join the Americans in their fight against the Nazis. As we look back on the Battle of the Bulge, we are reminded of the complexities and nuances of human nature. We see that even in the midst of war and conflict, there is always the possibility for redemption and forgiveness. And we are reminded of the importance of human connection and solidarity. which can overcome even the deepest divisions and animosities. The story of the 200 German defectors is a powerful reminder of the human cost of war and the complexity of human nature. It's a story that challenges our assumptions and stereotypes and encourages us to see the world in all its nuance and complexity. And it's a story that will continue to inspire and educate us for generations to come. Imagine being part of a secret that's been hidden for decades, a secret that would change the course of history forever. It's a story of 200 Germans who on a single day decided to defy their country and join forces with the Americans in the midst of World War II. As we delve into the aftermath of the Battle of the Bulge, we uncover the shocking truth about the consequences and legacies of these brave men. The Battle of the Bulge was a turning point in the war, and the German defectors played a crucial role in its outcome. Their decision to switch sides not only saved countless lives but also contributed significantly to the Allied victory. The impact of their actions was profound, and it's a testament to the complexity of human nature during times of war. As the German soldiers defected, they were met with a mix of emotions by their American counterparts. Some were wary of their intentions, while others saw an opportunity to learn from their enemy. The Americans took the defectors in, providing them with food, shelter, and medical attention. It was a remarkable display of humanity, especially considering the circumstances. But what happened to these men after they defected? Did they face persecution upon their return to Germany, or were they welcomed as heroes? The truth is, their experiences varied greatly. Some were indeed welcomed back, while others were shunned by their own community. The stigma of being a defector lingered, and it took years for them to regain their place in society. One such soldier, Hans Peter, recounted his experience in an interview years later. "I was met with suspicion and distrust by my own family," he said. "It took me years to rebuild my life and earn back their respect." Hans Peter's story is a poignant reminder of the challenges faced by these men, who had to navigate a complex web of loyalty, duty, and morality. The legacy of these German soldiers is a powerful one. Their actions not only saved lives, but also paved the way for future generations of Germans to question their country's leadership and ideology. It's a testament to the human spirit's capacity for compassion, empathy, and forgiveness. As we reflect on the consequences of the Battle of the Bulge and the German defectors' role in it, we're left with a profound question. What would you do if faced with a similar situation? Would you stand by your country, or would you follow your conscience? The answer, much like the experiences of these brave men, remains a complex and deeply personal one. Their story serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always a choice to be made. And it's a choice that can have far-reaching consequences, not just for individuals, but for the world at large. As we close this chapter, we're left with a sense of awe and gratitude for the men who dared to defy the odds and forge a new path. Imagine you're standing in a small German town, surrounded by the rugged landscape of the Ardennes forest. It's a place where history was made in the most unexpected way. A place where 200 Germans defied their country and joined forces with the Americans in the midst of World War II. This is the story of a forgotten chapter in history, one that's been hidden for decades, but is now ready to be uncovered. As we delve deeper into this extraordinary tale, we begin to realize the significance of this event. It's not just a story of betrayal or bravery, but a testament to the complexity of human nature. These 200 Germans, who decided to defect to the Americans, were not naive or foolish. They were ordinary people, with families and friends, who were caught in the middle of a war that had become increasingly absurd. Their decision to fight alongside the Americans was not taken lightly. It was a choice that would put them at odds with their fellow countrymen and potentially lead to severe consequences. But for these individuals, the prospect of joining forces with the Allies was too great to ignore. They saw an opportunity to be part of something bigger than themselves, something that could change the course of history. As we look back on this event, we're struck by the parallels with modern-day conflicts, the complexities of international relations, the blurred lines between loyalty and duty, and the human cost of war. All these themes are eerily relevant today. The story of the 200 Germans who fought alongside the Americans serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope for change and redemption. This forgotten chapter in history is more than just a footnote in the annals of World War II. It's a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the importance of standing up for what's right, even in the face of overwhelming odds. As we remember the sacrifices of these brave individuals, we're compelled to ask ourselves, what would we do in their shoes? Would we stand by our country, or would we take a stand against injustice? The answer, of course, is not always clear-cut, but one thing's for sure: the story of the 200 Germans who fought alongside the Americans is a powerful reminder of the human capacity for courage and compassion.